it also, he knows that he needed this time to change and to grow. You know, he could not do what he's doing now 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah. So when he got all the high school credits that he needed and was able to graduate, was he 21 at that point?
No, he had always graduated. He had all his credits to graduate when he was 18.
Oh, okay.
The purpose of the transition program is just that, to give them 3 years of social adjustment, emotional adjustment, to mature a little bit more.
Yeah, I see.
They really don't take classes per se. They do a lot of job experiences, they do a lot of life skills, they do a lot of volunteering.
I see. I knew generally about it, but I really need to educate myself more about what they're doing.
It is a really, really good program. In fact, we have people from other school districts that are now paying the city to be able to put their students in the program.
I see.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah. We had kids in, I think one from North Allegheny and one from Mount Lebanon.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many. I know Pittsburgh's a big school district, but other districts who might want to create their own program and model it after that.
Yeah. And it has been modeled in other cities.
Yeah.
Because they have a life skills house where they go and they go shopping and they cook and they clean, and learn how to do laundry. Sean never needed to do that because he learned to do it here.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was in the transitions program from roughly 18 through 21.
21, yeah. You get thrown out of the system at 21.
Yeah. So, well, just like to backtrack in it, for background, I know Sean's 23 now. At what age was he diagnosed?
5. Kindergarten. Linda Evans.
Yeah. So Linda suggested to you, I think he should be evaluated.
First day school. We knew there was something. We weren't sure what the problem was, what was wrong. I had brought it up with his pediatrician and picked him up the first day of kindergarten, and she said, "Mrs. Hallahan, we need to talk. Sean has some problems." I basically said, "Thank you." And Susan Barnett was still down there at that point, and she had Susan and Beth both observe him. We got him into it's part of Western Psych, Merck.
Right.
Institute did the eval for us by October. She had us in 6 weeks, and got him straightened out. And one of the reasons we never left the city.
Yeah.
Not going to get that support anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's true. You get it's not perfect in the city, but you get more support. And I know I've heard a lot of horror stories from suburban districts, including some really good school districts who you think, oh, they would do a good job with this, but not necessarily.
Observed with my friends is that better the school district, the Mount Lebanon's, the NAs, the worse the services are.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard. Yeah.
The poor, for lack of better terms, demographically, the poorer school district, the cities, Bethel Park, even Keystone Oaks tend to do a little better.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because of the demographic. I don't know.
I think so. I know I saw or heard a statistic that it's dated now, but I'm sure it probably hasn't changed much, but that about 1 in 5 students in Pittsburgh Public School District have an IEP. So they don't necessarily have autism, but
they have some type of
they have an IEP
issue.
And they have and so they have a big population of students with needs, with disabilities that they have to deal with. So it kind of, I guess, forces force them to come up with services, supports, autistic support programs.
Yeah, the program for exceptionalities is much larger, I think, than in other school districts.
So,
and I think it also, those big school districts that are so touted are worried about what their QPAs are, what their GPAs are of their students.
Yeah.
How many are, how high are we passing these standardized tests?
Right.
Where are we? Because that's how they're rated.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like the city, it's not quite as important.
Yeah. Right. So were you thinking about, well, I guess just about, so I know, prior to being evaluated and diagnosed when he was 5, did you and Tim have concerns, or were there issues and things that you were wondering about?
Yeah, Sean has always stimmed. I don't know if you've ever seen him do it. He moans, he puts his hands up, he rubs his fingers together. He would bounce on his bed to a point where we were going through mattresses every 6 to 9 months.
Oh, wow.
When we put the swing set up, he would sit on the swing back and forth for hours. So, yeah, there were repetitive motions, repetitive actions, like switches.
I see.
Yeah, our idea of playing cars was to line the cars up by color.
Okay. So you were observing that and thinking, this is a little concerning.
We're going to take the cars and make them go zoom across.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my brother's-in-law's a craftsman. We used to have big rolls of paper, and I used to draw roads on them. No, we lined the cars up.
Yeah, right.
Mom would drive the cars on the road. He lined the cars up.
He wasn't interested in making the car drive. Yeah.
He was interested in making nice, neat rows of cars.
Right.
Couldn't handle loud noises, couldn't handle crowds. Very, very regimented.
Yeah. So then after diagnosis, did Sean do, occupational therapy or anything like that?
Occupational therapy, we had TSS support for probably until he was in 6th or 7th grade, and then somewhere around there we went to a mobile therapist, a doctorate degree person. Our concern was he was having some issues with puberty, and we were looking for a male a little more mature. So we did work with a master's degree person quite a while. And then we went back to TSS. We found a young man. We went through a number of providers. We ended up with Watson for a long time.
Oh, okay.
I
was going to ask you which agencies or
we started out at Family Links, and they were having some issues. And then the person we were working with moved to Watson. She was very good. She's now a counselor at Penthouse. And she moved over to Watson and was able to help us get in. And that's when we met Dr. Sutton.
Because he was at Watson at the time.
Yeah.
And he's the same guy who is now at St. Vincent.
Yeah. So we stayed with him, and when he left Watson, we left with him. And he was able to get us in touch with a group down on the south side. And they were able to get us a young man who spent a lot of time. But they all tell you that to talk to Sean, the best way to talk to Sean is to walk with him. When he can move, his brain tends to work better.
That's interesting, yeah.
And I think it just takes down some of the environmental distractions. You're sitting in a room trying to talk to somebody, he notices the noises, the TV, everything. If he's trying to concentrate, TV has to be off, sound has to be off.
Yeah.
Especially if it's something that's making him anxious.
Well, if he'll do an interview with me, I wonder if we should go for a walk, like around the neighborhood.
And he will.
I don't know how it would work with that thing, but we could try it. And again, and also, if he said, I don't want you recording, I wouldn't do it. I would just...
I don't think you'd have an issue.
Yeah, talk with him, and then every once in a while, and even I do some of these interviews like for my job and other projects too. And every once in a while, somebody will be like, no, please don't record me, and I won't. But then after the interview, I'm like trying to sort of debrief in my mind and jot down as much as I can. I try to take notes during the interview too, but it's just, it's hard to keep up. But yeah, maybe we could just, we could do it some other time.